He was a quiet man, an artist, a craftsman, very conscious of his surroundings, a landscape artist mostly at that time. So he taught me to observe nature, to see the beauty of what was in front of me. Nothing elaborate, just the hedges, the trees, the grass. To notice the sky. He was also very conscious of good work. He loved carpentry. He taught me how to use tools. And I remember so well him saying, pay attention, keep your eye on what you're doing. When you're sawing a piece of wood, listen and watch, listen to and watch the movement of the saw. Watch the hammer so you hit the nail straight. And these two lessons of 100% giving attention and observing what was around me have stood me in good stead all my life. What I got from Mum was primarily a Russian heart. And Russian hearts, they just spill out all over the place. I was always told as a child, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Well, people laughed at me, but it was one of the best things, to have a great heart. My companions were nature and animals, and I was suddenly thrown into this world of other little boys, and I was completely lost, and for the first time in my life I knew what it was to feel isolated and lonely. In my little childish way, I remember so well just burying my little head in my hand and closing my eyes and saying, God bless Mummy and Daddy and my sister and our dog. When I was a boy at school, my favourite picture was of a cowboy riding up to the crest of a hill with the caption, "Don't fence me in." I'd always felt that I wasn't really English. I felt I was really a misfit. I suppose that's why I was more at home with nature than with other people. School tried to make me into an Englishman, and it didn't really work. I didn't fit that mould. I didn't think that way. And I didn't know why. I suppose it gave me a sense of guilt and failure throughout life, because I just felt I was different. I didn't belong. I just didn't want to be what most of my contemporaries were. I didn't want to go into business. I didn't want to go into the professions. I wanted to make the world a better place. It gave me much more than I gave to it, really. And I learnt probably the greatest lesson of my life. I remember sitting on a mountainside one day. I'd done a lot of work, or a little bit of work with planting trees on the eroded mountainsides. And of course the local sheep and goats had come and eaten them all off, and I was sitting there a bit depressed. And it seemed that a little voice seemed to say to me, to make whole, be whole. How can I put it? Perhaps one longs for the unlimited, for freedom and for love. And in worldly experience, all these things are finite, they have an end. You go out, you discover freedom, you go out, climb a mountain, but then you've got to come home again. Love is wonderful in its flowering, but then sooner or later it says no, it has an end. All the things you long for, happiness, it all comes and goes, doesn't it? And I think perhaps I was just greedy. I wanted that which didn't end. She was a woman with very open, clear eyes. And when I looked at her, I saw right through to the infinite beyond. And I saw our two souls rise from our bodies and merge as one. Well, you've got to realize there are two sorts of sight. There's the eyes of flesh. That's what's called insight, seeing with the eyes of the heart. Fleshly sight is always limited. It has a boundary. Flesh sees flesh. But we all have, to some extent, a a sense of even indescribable beauty, indescribable peace, or something like that. What did I see? I saw the indescribable. I saw the infinite indescribable. But it's the realest of the real when you see it. I was just surrendering to that total presence and to that love that has no end, to that love that never says no, to pure total love, which I'd seen in her eyes, you see. You know, if your heart is light, if your heart is full of light, you see light, and everything that's in it is light. You know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? If your eye is full of beauty, that's what you see. All the space, the freedom that I long for, that I've been travelling the world to find in the deserts and mountains of this world, were within me. And that discovery, well, it's been going on ever since. Bigger and bigger, greater and greater, better and better. You know, one of the things that stops us setting out on the spiritual life is that we're not sufficiently unhappy. We're too content with this sort of compromise with life, with all the little, sandwich bars and baubles that life, offers to us, the comfort of a teddy bear. And for some people it's not good enough. You want more, you want the real thing. I guess I was one of those people. I could tell you a lot about my understanding of the Lamb of God. Anyway, at that time I had quite a considerable flock of sheep, about 150 sheep, and I had 5 rams, I think. And one of these rams was an old warrior where through much fighting, he'd split his skull and was old soldier. And just before things happened, I had to move on from my first farm. I was sitting at one side of a field. I'm not sure if I'd been crying, but I was very unhappy about it all, losing my beloved animals. And these rams were lying under a hedge on the other side of the field, about, I suppose, 100 yards or so away. And to my amazement, one of these rams, this old warrior, he stood up, he left the house, slowly and deliberately he walked across the field. He laid his head in my lap and just stood there for a minute or 2 or 3. He turned away and went back and lay that day with his companions. It brings tears to my eyes to tell you. What do you make of that? Look, anything that dies, mortality, the whole world that comes to pass is not what we are. Man is eternal being. In order to be what we are, we have to come out of what we are not. Now, and here you and I are sitting in a body. Now, in a few years, this body will die, go back to dust. Am I the body? Is this what I am? I live in it. If I raise my hand, I raise my hand. But am I the body? What am I? Take it a bit further. I think these thoughts, but my thoughts change from day to day. There's nothing consistent about thoughts. My emotions are like a seesaw swinging up. The changing conditions of my life are here today and gone tomorrow. So what's left? If I eliminate what I'm not, what's left? tasteless, indescribable, pure being of oneself.